we're going to be discussing our May fishing recap, which is going to include, we fished a few different tournaments. We fished a tournament with that fishing noob that he put on. We fished a tournament with our local club, GRBY Grassroots Bass Yakin. And we fished a tournament with KBF called the Knucklehead. So it was the Knucklehead Mayhem tournament. So we fished those 3 tournaments. 2 of them were 5-fish tournaments, and 1 was a 10-fish tournament. So had a lot of fun fishing those. It was all the way down to the wire on getting limits, and we'll kind of talk about how our fishing went for the month, give a good breakdown all the way to our last day, which we'll kind of get into the frog fishing side of things and really kind of break down what our frog fishing was like, which was a blast, but kind of go over the whole of that day. An amazing day on the water, really. But yeah, so kind of going to start out with what our May fishing was like. So I should have got stats on how many times we went out fishing. I know we didn't fish as much as what we were really expecting to.
No, not at all.
But we still fished a decent amount, and
I think we went like once a week, which that's obviously not bad, but I don't know. I just expected a lot more this month because I didn't have anything going like show wise. Like normally I have shows in May and I didn't, so I expected to get to go a lot more, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, we had some wild weather in the month, just like we've experienced for the last like 4 months in a row. So of course, weather kind of kept us off the water a couple of the times when we would have been able to get out. So you just go out when you can, and that's what we did. We did a lot of going out when we can.
Taking kids fishing, which
yes
is great and all, but it does slow you down.
Keeps your focus your focus on catching fish yourself, and kind of puts your focus on helping them, number one, keeping them occupied, which was our last podcast video. We talked about that, and you guys, if anybody hasn't listened to that, go back and watch that, listen to it on podcast format. Either way, it was a good one if you have kids. So yeah, our May fishing, it was a pretty tough month, really.
I did not think it was going to be so hard.
Yeah. So going into it, I last May, I actually caught my PB at the time. And now I won't lie, when I look back at it, I really didn't catch good fish until late May. But I did catch a lot of good fish all within that last week of May last year. And this year, I mean, it was literally, like hard. I said, all the way down to the wire.
Every time
we're not catching fish.
No, it'd be like 1 to 2 max each time we were out, which is not what we wanted at all. So it was very hard. And even Teresa fishes around us too. She said it was hard too. I don't know if it probably was this back and forth cold, hot weather, not just temperature wise, but water temperature wise. I know that had to have affected it, because I think it's not normal at all around here. So definitely affected it, definitely made it harder. And then, I don't know, just didn't go out as much as wanted, but still ended up being a really good month. When it's all said and done, I feel like we learned a lot. So.
Yeah, that was a big thing. We definitely did learn a lot. When you go into a month and sign up for month-long tournaments where you kind of push yourself to fish through times that are tough, it's a big thing. You can definitely learn a lot through that. I know some people don't like fishing tournaments, and there's nothing wrong with that. We really enjoy it, and
it's just
and
fun.
I got
fun.
It is. That's what I go into it with. I know some people are going into it 100%. Their goal is to win every single one.
That might be me next year.
I would love to win them. But I'm going into it 100% every time to go out there and have fun. And because I started fishing tournaments a couple years ago, I've learned a ton about bass fishing. So it's made me get in and learn more. Yeah. So Travis, that fishing noob, just said he's trying to win some money.
Yeah, I would like to not just donate to the cause. I would like to.
Yeah, I'm glad for all the people who have given money to over the last couple of years, but ready to start getting some of your money back.
That's right.
So we had a fun month. I'll say I went into the month determined not to measure any fish that weren't at least decent sized.
I did not go
And
with that.
I threw back multiple fish that would have actually been upgrades for me by the end of the month. Unfortunately, I just caught a bunch of dinks. I really caught a lot of fish this month, but just most of them were very small. Caught a lot of them that were in that, you know, anywhere from like, I mean, my small fish was 5 inches, like literally a tiny bass.
He did measure that one.
Yeah, I measured that one for the fun of it, and I threw that one on that Fishing Noobs tournament. But yeah, caught that 5-inch tournament, or that 5-inch bass, and then I mean, I caught so many fish that were in that like 8 to 13-inch range that I just threw back and just thought there was no reason to measure a fish that was smaller. And then on the last day of the tournament, because I still didn't have my 10 fish limit, I already had my 5 fish limit for both tournaments, but I still didn't have my 10 fish limit. So I actually went through and I was just like, hey, I caught an 11-incher. I'm throwing this on the board and I'm measuring it. I caught a 13-incher, throwing it on the board and measuring it. And I ended up making a couple coals on the 10 fish limit by the end of the day and several coals on the 5 fish limits, but none of the coals were what I needed them to be. So
I got PA Dan and Matt's fishing mission.
Yeah, so
welcome.
PA Dan is Keystone Kayak Angler
thank you.
on Instagram. And
that I know.
He does woodworking and
oh, that's cool.
Does a lot of chainsaw stuff. So that's what this channel is. And then Matt's Fishing Mission. Welcome, Matt. Thank you for joining. Really appreciate it. So yeah, we're doing well. It was a wild month. It was a fun month, but it was a wild month. So one of the things that Fishing Noob tournament, I was able to fish from the bank or kayak. So I actually ended up hitting Little Pond by work, and I know you guys seen a couple of the fish that I've caught out there, but I've got a few more to share with you guys. Actually, I caught a 16.5 out there, and I was like, man, this is the biggest fish I've caught out of here. And then a few days later, I ended up catching one that was a little over 17 inches.
From a it's a very small pond. Like, I mean, you can walk completely around it.
You can cast across 15, it.
Yeah.
I can make casts from one side to the other.
I'm surprised there was fish that big in there.
And I also missed a couple that were decent sized fish. One was probably, in the 14-inch range. And there was another one that I lost that was probably close to that 16-inch range. I set the hook into it, but it hit as soon as I cast out. As soon as my line hit the water, it hit the frog. And I just kind of set the hook a little bit too fast and ended up losing that. But again, caught some really good fish out there. It was a fun surprise. I had a lot of fun out there. The big fish, it was so great. When you guys do see that video, you'll see me. I think I get a text or something, and I look down at my watch because I'm at work still. I'm on my lunch, and my work goes nonstop. So I get a text, and I look down at my watch, and when I look back up, all of a sudden I see my frog is underwater, and I'm like, okay. I reel down to it, and I feel the pressure, so I just give it the hook set, and sure enough, I end up pulling out, like I said, the biggest bass I've caught out of that little pond. So it was probably 2.5 pounds, fairly close to 3 pounds, which is a solid fish in this tiny pond. So we are not doing any month-longs for June. We do have a tournament this coming weekend.
Yep.
So not positive. The way our tournament clubs, our club is, you can fish one day out of a 5-day. You get 5 days to pick a day to fish. And so we're going to fish one day this weekend. Not positive. And I know you know that, Teresa, but
yeah,
some of the others don't. So not positive what day we're going to fish.
Kind of watching the weather.
Thinking about maybe Monday. I don't know.
I don't know.
It's tough because that's the last day of the tournament. So
then it's like
you have all the pressure on you.
I would just have to not look, I think.
Yeah.
Not that I go into it thinking I'm going to win, but like
When
there's
you-
always that little bit of like possibility. Like
when you pull up the tournament and see somebody like our
That got, like,
last one that we
90
did
something
that
inches
that had almost 100 inches in a single day, you know, you're like, oh, this is
Yeah.
going to be a tournament that we've got our work cut out for us. So yeah, it's definitely a tough thing being last. So I'm gonna get into results on our tournament. Did you happen to
No, I'm just
get,
gonna read
get
off your
any of
notes.
Okay, so she's gonna take off my notes. If she struggles reading them, I might have to read them
So
for
you
you
can
because
just
I'm
read
just gonna
them.
warn you guys.
It's got chicken scratch.
When I'm making notes, I literally just throw it down. Yeah, like she said, chicken scratch. So starting out, I'm gonna talk about the That Fishing Noob tournament. So they are on Fish Champ, I think it is. Fish Champ. Check out That Fishing Noob's page. Check his YouTube out. His
It's a free
Facebook.
tournament.
Yeah, free tournament. It's on Fish Champ is the name of the app, and it's just a fun tournament. We've enjoyed it. It's fun competing with my buddy.
I was gonna say it's more just about like bragging rights. You know?
And
which
Jeremy
and
Jeremy's gonna be Jeremy's gonna be in it. Jeremy's gonna be in it next time. I was in first for a little while during the tournament, and then held second for quite a while, and then got passed up. So the winner of that tournament was Mike Kramer, and he had 90 inches for the month. Then right behind him was Travis, That Fishing Noob, and he was at, I think, 88.5. And then I was down into fourth place by the end of it, and there were 20 total that fished it. So I was in fourth place with 83.5. I struggled. Like I said, I caught a lot of fish, but I struggled catching fish. My biggest bass this month, which I was going to talk about anyway, my biggest bass this month was 17.25 inch. So normally, you know, I'm not going to have a month where I don't catch one over 18. So, you know, I did not get any really big bass. I caught some solid ones, but just nothing big this month. Mm-hmm. Kayla ended in 7th place with 77 inches. Her big bass of the month was 17 inches.
That's what I was thinking, but I couldn't remember.
And that was actually caught the last day of the tournament.
Yes, it was.
And we'll get into that in a minute. So next, I'm going to talk about our grubby, Grassroots Bass Yakking, the local club that we fish. So the winner for that was Antoine Hayes. And he
should not be allowed to fish them anymore.
Killed it. 105.25 inches for the month. In Indiana, that is unreal numbers. And he's had 2 months in a row like that. Like he has, I'm not positive where he fishes.
He fishes.
I know he's northern.
Yeah,
he did bluegrass that one time. He doesn't come down here very often.
I don't know.
But he's more northern Indiana, I think. I think he's up by Indy. I say northern Indiana. I think he's up by Indy area. So yeah, so I'm assuming he fishes somewhere up there, but he's obviously got some spots where he's catching some solid fish. I mean, he's a solid angler. I've been watching the tournament scene for probably 5 years now, and he's really good. Anytime that he's fishing a tournament, he's normally up towards the top. Now, he said normally when he comes to bluegrass, he's not up towards the top, but this year he actually won one of the bluegrass tournaments. Really just kicked butt out there.
Yeah, I did.
He actually that day he put up 103 inches. Unfortunately, just a few of them are after lines out, so those bass just ended up counting towards his month-long tournament. Yeah, he did. He's won multiple months this year. So yeah, congrats. We also had two of our friends that were above us. So Paul Claspel, I think he was at like 99.75 or something like that, 99.25. And then
he got third, didn't he? I think.
Yeah, I think he was in third, and I think right behind him was Rivy. So they were all in the upper 90s. Teresa, Mama Gone Fishing here.
She beat him.
She beat me. So
and me too, but
yeah. So I finished the month in that tournament 10 of 23 total anglers. I finished that 10 of 23 with 83 1/4 inches. And then Kayla finished 13 out of 23 with 77 1/2 inches. So again, that was her first 5 fish limit. This month was her first 5 fish limit, but it's her first month-long tournament she's done. So the next, no?
We did November last year.
That's right.
And I got 4 fish, not 5.
That's right. So the next goal for her is to catch 5 in a day, which, again, we'll kind of get into that in just a minute because she did kind of complete that goal, just not during a single day tournament. It was a tournament.
Well, yeah.
But not in a single day tournament. The next tournament we fished was Knucklehead, and it was a 10 fish limit. So the winner of that was JT Hickman. You guys, I know most of you guys follow him, Fishing with Gramps.
Yep.
Congrats, JT. He had 177 3/4 inches, and then I think Matt was right behind him with like 172 or something like that. I was in 5th out of 8. There were 8 total anglers that fished that tournament. I was in 5th place with 151 1/2 inches. And Kayla was in 7th place with 123 1/2 inches. How many fish did you catch in the 10 fish tournament?
I caught 9 fish. It was so frustrating because of how many fish I lost. If I would have just caught them, I would have had it. But, beggars can't be choosers, I guess. I was learning, and I'm just going to keep telling myself that I was just learning, and it was fine to not catch all of those fish. So it's fine. It's totally fine.
We both
not frustrated at all.
We both had some pretty major heartbreaks this month.
Oh yeah.
We both lost some good fish this month. I know for a fact I lost one that would have been over 18. We were frog fishing. I've got a video that I think is called like frog fishing in heavy grass or something along the lines of that. And it's like 2 videos back. So we were out that day, and I was on the phone with Chris from Mid Tennessee Angling, I think is his channel. So I was on the phone with him, and while I was on the phone with him, I had a pretty decent one bite and went to set the hook into it, and I set the hook around my PFD where I had my pocket folded down with my phone out, and accidentally hit the button on the reel and opened up the spool. The next one was right after I got off the phone with him. I had seen a fish all the way back in the furthest corner of this real thick grass mat, and it was nasty.
So
like getting back there was a chore.
It's not just grass; it's that.
Yeah, it's grass stuff with slime on top of it. I mean, it's covered in algae and real thick hydrilla. So I go back to the farthest corner of this grass mat, and I cast the frog right where I had been seeing this fish blow up. And I mean, give it that pop, 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 and it blows up. And I give it that 3 count and yank the hook. When I yank that rod up, it just pulls the rod right out of my hands. And I see the fish flop around on top of the grass while I'm trying to get the rod back in, and it goes right back down and doesn't have the frog in its mouth anymore. It actually ended up breaking the frog off. So, that one hurt. That one hurt. I know it was a good fish. I'm saying 18 plus. I can't say for sure because it was at the very end of a cast. Can't say for sure that it was a giant, but I know it was a good fish. It would have been my PB of the month. So, lost those. Then we fished Friday and Saturday. Mm-hmm. Friday, I feel like we picked the wrong lake. So, man, sometimes you just got to trust your gut instinct. And I had told myself the lake that we were going to wasn't the right one, but I also know Kayla has more confidence in the lake that we were going to. And I was like, I know she needed to catch her fish. I was feeling pretty good about the way the month was going to end. I figured I was going to get my limits. I already had 2 of my limits. And I was like, I want to go somewhere where she has some confidence and she's going to catch some fish. So we went to the lake that I felt like would be better for her. And really just barely into the day,
I caught one. Yeah, I caught one on a chatterbait.
No.
Buzzbait.
She still gets those two mixed up.
I will never say those two right.
So I heard a big splash and I turned. I thought she had just, sometimes you cast and it'll just hit the very end of the kayak and just splash into the water. And I thought that's what it was. And then I realized she was actually fighting a fish in.
Yeah, it was a decent one. I think it was 16.
16,
I think it was
16 and a half, something like that.
It was pretty good. And then I got one more bite that day on a frog.
Yeah.
And it was, I actually did hook it. I totally hooked it, which I was impressed with because, I think that's probably like second time fishing with a frog when we went out that Friday.
Yep.
Or attempting to anyways. And so I think I looked away or something. And then I looked back and the frog was underwater and I was like, oh, so I set the hook and I got it all the way to the boat. And then it like just, I tried to boat flip it. When I tried to boat flip it, which you do with frogfish anyways, I've learned, it just flopped off. So it was like a 10-inch fish, but at that point, like I would have measured a 5-inch fish to get my limit. So I didn't.
She did not. She didn't get a good hook set on it. So
I
going back and looking at the footage, you guys will see that footage as well. I'm actually probably going to make the content that we did for that day for our 2,000 subscriber giveaway. So I'll be making that video within the upcoming week or two. And I'm going to kind of talk a little bit, have some fishing content in there, and then go over the details of the giveaway, including all the items, which, man, I'm kind of excited. I'm going to reveal a little bit more to you guys at the end of this video, but there's some good stuff in there. So at the time, she was measuring that 16 and a half that she caught on a buzzbait. I had came over to her so I could get some pictures. And while she was working on measuring, I was just making some casts. And probably third cast in of me being there, I had a good one hit on the buzzbait. And I went back and looked at my footage and I did not have a real good hook set on it. And it ended up getting me in the grass and spitting the hook. And it hurt. So we almost got a chance to get a picture of kind of a double up.
I want that so bad.
Which would have been nice. So missed a good fish there. It was probably somewhere around the same size of the fish she caught there. Then I ended up I can't remember.
You caught a couple little ones.
I caught 2 that day.
Yeah.
I can't remember what I ended up catching them on. I think I caught them on
buzzbait that day.
Yeah, we separated. I think I want to say both of them on a buzzbait.
But yeah, so we went back on Saturday and we were pretty determined to just like at the water. We went to a different lake. And when you get out there, it's like just completely grass covered. And it's
the same lake that I had done the other frog fishing video on.
Yeah. So like your only option, well, that's not true, but you feel pretty confident that a frog is probably going to work on there. So I thought I'm going to keep trying it. And about halfway in, he gave me one little tip on what I was doing wrong with like reeling it in. And as soon as I changed that, like I started getting blowups like instantly.
Yes.
Like constantly too, not just like one, because I had gotten that one time, and I think that was pure accident. If I'm just being honest, I think the fish was just like, oh, but I don't think I had anything to do with me. And then I had gotten like 1 or 2 more out of all of that things. Meanwhile, he's getting a ton of them on the same days, and so I just that one little fix. I was dragging it too far, and I was pulling it out of the reach of the fish. But as soon as I changed that, I started getting blowups constantly. Now that didn't in success most of the day. It was horrible trying to learn. I remembering to wait, set the hook, all that good stuff. It's really hard. It's because first of all, the blowups scare me, like totally scare me, like it's like a good old jump scare. And
she says that in the video.
If you haven't watched today's video, you need to watch it because there's just so many good. There's so many good catches. There's so many good misses. But it was just a total learning day on frog fishing, and because that's pretty much all I used. He got a couple hits on the buzzbait, and stuff like that. But I wasn't getting any. The only thing I was getting any sort of action from was a frog, and so I just kept doing it. It's like I'm gonna either learn or completely fail miserably today, and either way, I'm gonna keep keep going at it. So we went back into this one little cove, and I guess I was in there first. I hooked a really good fish, and I knew I actually, well, I feel like I actually had it really good.
Yeah,
My
she had a
first
good
one,
hook set on it.
I did everything right, and I still lost it. And there was a couple more where I was like, I know I set the hook, I know I waited, I know I did all that stuff. And then I realized, just I don't even know why, because I was sitting there in my head thinking like, what am I doing wrong? Why I'm not letting this? Because I like after a while you know, it's muscle memory, you learn all that stuff. And I uh, did something with my line, and I was like, man, that pulls out really easy. Because I got to thinking, like, you know, when I'm reeling, I'm having a really hard time gaining traction and pulling it up out of the
Well,
grass.
she set the hook in multiple fish, and I was like, she had a rod tip up, so she was doing it. You know, you want to keep that rod tip up and just be kind of forcing them in when you've hooked them in a frog with a frog. And she had a rod tip up and was reeling, and I was like, get them in fast, get them in fast. You know, like the longer that you're playing them in that really thick hydrilla, the more hydrilla's packing up on that frog, packing up on that fish, and more chance of that fish being able to shake that hook. You know,
Yeah.
so I'm telling her, get it in fast, get it in fast, and it's just
It's
she's
just
slowly
not,
cranking
yeah,
it
say
in.
I'm trying and it's just not reeling in fast. And I realized that my drag was not tightened all the way. So I fixed that, and it was almost instantly after that I was able to get, well, I feel like it was pretty close to instantly after that I was able to get my first one and actually get it hooked and get it into the boat. And then it was just like, I don't know.
It clicked.
It worked. It worked
So
after that.
I definitely take credit for some of the failure there because I should have made sure that her drag was locked down. You know, you think back on it and I'm like, I really am sure that I probably told her that, but man, sometimes you just know things and think that because you know it, somebody else knows it. Take the time if you know little tips, give people, especially that are new into it, give them tips. I'm still new into frog fishing as well, so I'm not the best person to give tips, but I've learned a lot. Really, over this month, I've learned a
Mhm.
ton on frog fishing. I caught my first frog fish at the beginning of this month, or maybe right at the end of last month. I can't remember exactly when it was, but nonetheless, I caught my first frog fish within this month. And
We'll
yeah,
get
yeah, we'll get to that in just a minute, Josh. So I've learned a lot about frog fishing over this last month and a half, and I still can't give all the tips, but man, there's some great videos on YouTube about it. And hey, yeah, looking forward to it, Mid Tennessee Angling. I was actually just talking about you just a minute ago. Um, s-
um
Go ahead.
so, you know, tighten that. Well, the other thing, like, you can tell me, like, I've learned that I need to sit there and work on learning more about my reels and stuff like that, because I don't know, in my head, like, you know, growing up fishing, I never learned any of that. Like, if you're taking your kids fishing, take the time to teach them. Like, and I don't mean this in like a diss in any way, because it's very frustrating to have to slow down and do that. And sometimes it's just easier when you do it yourself. But like, teach them where the drag is. Teach, and this is for adults too. You take new adults out fishing, teach them where the drag is, how to tighten it, what all the other little things are, and just like real maintenance and things like that,
Yep.
basic stuff that you don't think about. So in one of the things on the video, I was reeling in a fish. This one really hurts because I would have had my 10. Because it was after I finally had it, it all clicked. I reeled it in. I was reeling it in, and all of a sudden, you'll see in the video, like, my reel comes off of my rod. It just literally falls out of the seat. And I was like, I didn't even know that could happen. If I'm just being honest, I had no idea that could happen. I thought it was broke because I didn't think it would just come off like that. And I was holding it in my hand, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I couldn't react quick enough, and I lost the fish, of course.
Yeah, her face was perfect. Again, if you haven't watched the video,
It's a
you
good
have got
video.
to go through and see this one. So I'm going to kind of rewind into our day that day. So we started out that day. We got on the water a little bit earlier than we did the day before. She talked about me catching some on a buzz bait, and that was literally maybe 5 casts in. I got one on a buzz bait, and it was, I want to say, like 14, 15 inches. So not a bad fish by any means. And just started the day out with that, and I was like, okay, that's a good sign. We made our way to where we had all the frog blowups, the video where we did have all the lost frogfish. And when
Hi,
we got
Tom.
there, Tom, welcome. Thank you for joining. So when we got to that spot, started working a frog, and I got a couple hits on a frog, but nothing that was like a good blow up. I wouldn't consider anything like a good blow up. Like she said, she was what she was doing is her rod tip was swinging probably 12 to 18 inches, and she would just kind of drag the frog. She would drag it and then reel
I
back
was
to
trying
it,
to pop it. I
drag
just
it,
wasn't doing it
reel
good.
back to it. And I was like, you need to make that tip just do little dances, and it's just slowly popping that frog. And even in editing, like I told her that, she went to doing it, and within
It was
minutes,
literally instantly.
minutes, she had a big blow up, and she didn't get a good hook on it, you know.
No, that one totally just scared me because I wasn't
Yeah,
used to
that
getting any
was the one where
hits, so
she said,
it just scared me.
frogfish scare me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was a big thing. She picked it up like she was saying, she picked it up like that. So then she actually started. I was still, you know how it goes. They say don't fish history. It is so hard not to fish history, especially when you know there was a big fish there. I knew the big fish probably wasn't still there, but I also knew fish should be in the mats with the way the weather's been and everything. And so I dug deeper in that same mat and worked my way to the back of it. And like I said, just got a few blow ups and got a few blow ups here and there. So that fishing noob actually said, you know, haven't listened to his frog podcast. So he has a frog fishing pod on his podcast. Check out that fishing podcast, and he has a frog fishing episode, and it's a good one. So you should definitely check it out. But nonetheless, I worked my way to the back of that and just working that frog as hard as I could, thinking, man, I'm gonna get a blow up in here, and didn't get any solid hits at all. So I made my way out of that. Yeah. I made my way out of that grass, and when I got out of the grass, I threw the buzz bait, and maybe 2 casts later, she was already down the bank a little ways. Maybe 2 casts later, I landed another one on a buzz bait. Didn't have the camera recording. I ended up missing 2 fish. I missed recording 2 fish. One of them was a 16
on top
and a half.
Of his game.
One of them was a 16 and a half, and she missed recording one too. Missed a 16 and a half later on a frog. But yeah, so wasn't recording. It was an 11-inch fish. I went ahead and measured it because I did not have my 10 fish yet. And I was like, I am going home today with my limit. It's not going to not happen because I was still 3 short on my 10 fish limit. So caught that 11-incher, measured it. Before I even made it over to her, maybe 3 casts after I put that one back in the water, I was casting kind of towards the grass mat, still working the buzzbait, and had the buzzbait get almost all the way back to me and seen like 3 bait fish jump out of the water right by the buzzbait. And then right as I was about to pick it up out of the water, a tiny bass came up, and it hit it with everything that little bass had because it took it down and it started peeling drag. And I knew it was small because I seen the fish, you know, but it was peeling drag on the BFS rod, and it was pretty awesome. I, you know, got a pretty good chuckle out of it and threw it back. It wasn't worth measuring. It wouldn't have measured 10 inches even. So threw it back, made my way down the bank, and we worked that same bank for a little while. Worked all the way down to some trees. And, you know, I was working on trying to skip up in the trees, and I was making some good casts, and I was like, how in the world am I making good casts and not getting any blow-ups?
Definitely feel like if you make a good cast, you should get a fish.
Yes. So then we made our way across the lake to a little bitty cove.
Tiny.
It's a small island, and it is literally grass mats all the way wrapped around the island.
Yeah.
And there's like a cove that goes further back and everything, and it's just all grass. So we went over there and started frogging. And like she said, she got a blow up on a frog pretty soon after getting over there. I was on the other side of the island and I wasn't getting anything on a frog. So I had been throwing a frog for a little while at that point and hadn't got anything. Buzzbait bite shut off, but I was still focused on topwater because, man, when you're getting bites on topwater, it's hard to change to something else. So I made my way around the island back to her, and she told me she was getting hit on a frog.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like over and over, like same like probably 20-foot strip is where I like pretty much lived on that entire day. And it was just
so I don't know how many blow ups I put in the video. I put a lot in it, but you guys,
there was more.
I edited so many blow ups out of that video because I mean, I would have probably had 45-50 minute video just on all the bites and missed fish.
Which I would say a lot of it was missed because I wasn't.
And not just missed fish on our part, missed the fish just missing the frog too, you know. But I mean, not just that little like bloop, you know, those big explosions, you know.
Isn't that like one of the most exciting thing about frog fishing though? Like, because like you're like popping it along. I think I'm probably gonna have a hard time not frog fishing because it's like literally the best thing I've ever done. Like I love it for multiple reasons because you're like popping along, and if they do miss, you can just keep popping it, and then like
sometimes they'll come back
and get it, and it's like the coolest thing because you can literally like watch the fish like go after it, and that is addicting.
Yeah,
because that one like I watched it move under the water, like I could see the big old algae like move, and I was like, oh, it's coming, and then it hit and it missed, but I just kept popping it, and it like grabbed it. Oh, that was like literally the most exciting thing ever, and that like slurp sound when they come out of the water. Oh my gosh, I like love that. I don't even know. I can't make that sound. I'm not even gonna try, but like I wish I could like record it and get it on camera because it's like just so. I love frog fishing now, so I'm pretty addicted.
So I also got a ton of really fun content. I'm like I cannot wait. Yeah, waiting on that Dallas theme song. Tom says I can't wait to really put together all these shorts and stuff that I got out of this couple days. But Tom made a comment earlier about me using spot lock. So I pulled a funny and I pulled all the way up into the grass mat.
It was super windy.
Yeah, it was bad windy.
Like 20 mile per hour winds all day.
Bad windy all day Saturday. So I pulled up into this grass mat and there was really no protection from it even behind the island. The island wasn't stopping the wind. It was just like it would have just spun us around the island and kept us going. But I pulled up into this grass mat and pulled up in it far enough that I was going to be like stuck there. And I was watching this boater right across the grass mat from me. And he had probably been there, I'm going to say every bit of 20 to 30 minutes.
Oh, he was there a long time.
Doing something with his engine for a good part of it. I think he might have had like on his main engine, I think he might have had like line wrapped up in it. Because he was down in the water, like leaned over with just like his bottom half of his body in the boat, top half of his body leaned over the boat. And he was working on something on his engine. And it looked like he was probably trying to get line off of his prop. But he was messing with that for a long time. And then he turned and he started fishing. And he was fishing there. And he seen me catch a couple fish right there. He probably seen Kayla catch a couple fish right over there. And he was fishing, looked like a worm or something along that lines, and I'd never seen him land a fish, but he was fishing there for a long time.
I've seen him get a small one.
He was not moving, and I was like, man, that guy's over there spot locked, and I was like, man, you know what? I'm spot locked too. I'm stuck right here. So I made a little funny video, and I was like, this would be a great short for everybody. And I was like, yeah, I'm sitting here in this windy day frog fishing, and I'm spot locked right now, and all you guys know that I don't have a motor on my kayak, but I scrolled over for all those that don't. And I was like, oh, yeah. Like when you pull up in the kayak and push right up in the grass and you lock your spot. So it was just a silly one, but I had fun doing it. But I got a lot of good, fun content that I'll be able to make some good shorts out of. I mean, the reel coming off. It's gonna be a good one. In that same grass mat that I said I was spot locked in, I was working a frog and I threw it. Again, one of those, you guys know those bomb casts on a frog are kind of fun. I mean, you can sometimes I let it rip hard enough that I get wobbling on the kayak and I'm like, oh, I might need to sit down, So I made a big bomb cast, and right at the end of the cast, 2 pops in, there was a big blow up, and I gave it that 1, 2, 3 count and then set as hard as I could. And the frog just came flying back to me. I mean, almost all the way back to me from a far cast. And as I'm going through the content, I just happened, and normally I go through every bit of her footage, but she actually can reach the camera now and hit highlights. So I don't have to go through every bit of her footage, but for some reason I was going through and got to the spot of her saying, missed that one, or something along the lines of, or you missed it, or something.
I was slightly bitter and jealous because I had missed probably like...
That was after you started catching them, though.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, it was.
Just payback.
It was. So, yeah, so she was like, missed that one, or you missed it. And, oh, man, I was like, okay, that was perfect. So I tied that into the video, and I'll be making a short with that one as well. I actually already edited that one down because it was good.
We had a lot of fun. I was super frustrated because I was missing it, and I could not figure it out, but...
So we got somebody new on the channel, Christopher Keene. He said his personal best bass, 8 pounds, 6 ounces, came on a Smithwick Devil Horse here in Memphis. So now that would be a fly, correct? I think that's a fly. So flies always kind of have some kind of crazy names. So yeah, I've never thrown anything. I've thrown some flies on the ultralight rod, but yeah, that's a giant fish.
Topwater, they definitely scare me all the time. So when I was frog fishing, first of all, like I said, you can kind of see it sometimes, so that helped. But I would literally I was literally telling myself, I would literally say this. I'd be like, when it blows up, don't jump, count to 3, and set the hook. Like, I literally just repeated that, and I would just be like, 1, 2, 3, set the hook. 1, 2, 3, set the hook. Because if not, I was going to jump, and I was going to just instantly pull it up. And I still did that a little bit, but not near as bad. I kind of got, I don't know, I kind of got the hang of it there at the end. So, which obviously I'm no master yet, but I definitely feel a lot more confident in it.
All right. So, would you guys mind jumping on and liking? It looks like there are 14 on and only 6 likes. So please jump over and like the video. It helps push it out to other people. So, yeah, so we had so much fun. That 16 and a half that I didn't get on film. Oh man, it was a good one too. So I had just passed it through that same area probably 3 or 4 times and had little blow ups, but not an explosion. Finally landed in the spot, and that fish decided it was eaten, and it blew up hardcore. I reeled it in, got it all the way to the boat, and boat flipped it in. And when I boat flipped it in, it landed in my net, which I lean on my pedal drive, and it actually flopped my net out of the kayak with the fish in it. So the fish fell down. I literally netted it. The fish fell down in the water sitting in my net, and I had to jump down there and grab the net real fast.
It was
and
so funny.
Then afterwards, I went to hit a highlight and realized my camera was off because I had been again on the phone, and I kind of forgot to turn my camera back on at that point. So made a mistake there, but that one would have been a funny one. I also had another funny one on my part was I had a fish right up in a tree, like right up in the trees. There were a couple laydowns and a couple small trees. Now, if you guys know where we fish, there's really not much for trees on the bank. They're tiny, but a couple small trees that were sticking just in the edge of the water. And I had been thrown in there and had several like little blow ups on it. And I was determined to catch this fish, and I threw it up in there. And one of the times it hung up on like the last limb on this tree, which was probably 2 feet, 3 feet, maybe out of the water. And the frog, the silicone skirt was just sitting in the edge of the water. And I was like, oh man, this is perfect time to kind of give it that rise and fall, and let that skirt just kind of bounce in the water. I was like, I'm going to do that like 4 or 5 times. And that second fall, big old blow up. It hit. I set the hook in it. Well, the limb was strong enough, and it was a small limb. The limb was strong enough that the fish came flying up out of the water, hung on the limb for a second. I was like, you see this? She looks over and sees it, and it's flopping in this tree. And I was like, I got to get this fish. And it flipped off the limb, fell back into the water, and as I was fighting it in, it spit the frog. But that was a funny one too. Man.
Yeah. So it wasn't necessarily the frog or the hooks. It was literally me and just learning. And my drag was definitely a big part of that.
We're going to talk about the frogs that we're using in just a minute and why we don't have to bend the hooks on these frogs. So it was some failures on our part. Definitely. I mean, Kayla's, like she said earlier, her drag being too loose. I mean, you guys know you got to have your a prop style bait. Okay. I'll have to look that up. It's not one I've heard of. So, but her drag being too loose was definitely, the issue that caused most of her lost fish in the first half of it.
And then learning to wait efficiently.
After she started waiting though, because she had a few like good fish. I was right there by her when she hooked it into some of them. You can kind of see them on the video, but I seen them up on top of the grass mat. Like she had a couple fish that would have been good fish.
And they were.
She would have probably passed me up in our 5 fish limit if she would have landed these fish, just to be honest, and very possibly passed me up in the 10 fish limit. She had some really good ones. And yeah, so she had that happen and end up losing some fish for that. I think had she not had her drag loose, then she would have not had that issue. So I'm gonna have her go over her frog, and I'm gonna go over my frog right now, and we'll just kind of go over our setups. So
I do not have a good frog setup.
She doesn't. So show them your rod sleeve.
That's my rod sleeve. That's mine. It's from my business Allure. So if any females are on here, you should check it out. I actually really
if you have a girlfriend or wife that likes to fish,
I may be working on a few guys things too, because I have literally been asked so many times that it's not even funny for that. So anyways, so if you're into, fishing shirts and things like that, which I think are super important, especially on tournament days, to protect your skin from the sun, check out Allure. So guys, things coming soon.
Slowly been working on upgrading her rods. Sorry. I know she was just talking about a lure. But slowly been working on upgrading her rods. But she didn't have a heavy setup. I was at Walmart probably a month ago, and they had some rods on clearance. It's a Abu Garcia Vendetta. I got it for like $15. I couldn't pass it up. It was a heavy setup. So I was like, I got to pick this up, and then she'll have a frog rod. So it's a 7'3" heavy. And then she's just got a cheap Abu Garcia reel on there.
Which I actually...
like about bottom dollar for Abu Garcia
and
reels.
I literally hate it, and I can't wait to upgrade it. All of the things that I think I need now, which I actually absolutely hate, because I was like, you don't need that. You're fine. Okay, so you're not fine.
I've got her hooked, guys.
Because I hate this reel. I want it gone so bad.
She's ready to upgrade reels and ready to upgrade rods.
I don't like this reel. It's stupid.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with this rod. It's a solid rod.
Sort of. I don't like the way it feels.
Yeah, it's not as, she's getting used to higher quality rods now. So that's a big thing. So it's not the same quality as what our yak rods are. She's got a couple of those that she's been throwing.
But I used all day the blue and green one. I don't know the name.
So the frog she's using is called a pad slasher. This is from Tactical Fishing Company. Go ahead and open your spool, and we'll get them a close up of it. So if you can see, which I'll make sure the frog's on there good, but the way the hooks are on that, so they're right towards the top of the frog, and as you push it down, the hooks are really perfect angled, and they're all the way to the back of the frog. So these are actually saltwater hooks, and they're like a cast hook. So you do not want to bend the hooks on these, because the hooks would potentially break for bending them, but you don't need to bend the hooks on these. But so she's using a pad slasher. As the name implies, it is their pad specific frog. So it's made for really heavy pads, stuff that you're going to be working it through like that, so it doesn't hang up on that. The frog I'm throwing is the B2 frog, and I'm throwing it in leopard color. I don't know. This is the first one I tied on, and I really like the color. You can see it really well in the water. It's got a white belly, so it's like throwing a white frog, but you can see this really well in the water. And I've just had a lot of blow-ups on it, a lot of caught fish on it. Really, I've caught a lot of fish on a frog this month, in multiple lakes and the little pond. So I haven't trimmed the skirt down on this or anything, but this is a Tactical Fishing Company B2 frog. So Mama Gone Fishing, Teresa said, how do you get one of those frogs? So just go to tactical fishing. I think it's tacticalfishingco.com. And
I don't remember.
he actually has a discount code on there for anybody who's not ordered one of his frogs yet. Yeah, and they do have some frogs in stock. He just did a restock and already sold out of a ton of them. So that should tell you, yeah, tacticalfishingco.com. So that should tell you these are good frogs, because I mean, he did restock and restocked all of them, including his brand new ones that he just brought out. And he's sold out of a lot of them right now. So get on there and buy them now, and use code NEW20. I'm not affiliated with them at all.
Code. It's just
use code NEW20. I think it's all caps, or it might just be first letter cap, but use code NEW20 for 20% off. And his frogs are very reasonable. It's $8.99 a frog. It's not more than what you're going to pay for. It's cheaper than what you're going to pay for like a Berkeley Swamp Lord or a Spro Bronze Eye. And these frogs are the softest I've used out of the package. I haven't boiled these. I did boil, I can't even remember what the frogs I have, Booyah frogs and a few others. I boiled them. This frog you don't need to boil. It is soft. He puts the weight on the outside, so on the underside of the frog, and the weight does not prevent the frog from smashing in. So you get a bite. I've got like tiny fish on this too. So even a tiny fish comes up and mouths it, you get a hook set on it and you're going to land the fish. So that tells you the weights or the hooks are far to the back. If you can land a small fish on a frog, then you should be able to get any of the big ones that bite. They shouldn't just miss the frog. Now I did have one hit the silicone, and I could feel it swimming around, and when I set the hook, it just pulled out of its mouth. And I got a good hook set on it. So sometimes they'll hit the silicone. I trimmed down some of my frogs. I haven't trimmed this one down because I've landed a lot of fish on it and I just haven't messed with it. But I actually have more frogs on order right now. I've got a few more of the B2s, a few more of the pad slashers, and then I've got some of his popping frogs also, because he has a popping frog, and I haven't tried those yet.
No, but we've heard they're really good.
So I've got some of his popping frogs on order. I think they're called the Dragon Pop. And then his newest frog that he just released is called a Rizzard, and it's kind of...
It looks really cool.
It looks like an alligator is what it looks like if you look at it. And it's got a thread tie on it. So like the actual line tie is not metal. So yeah, it's got a blade on the back of it also. So it's made more for kind of reeling. Yeah, it's completely sold out.
Yeah,
he released it and it was sold out within the first like few hours of it releasing. Every color, and he's got it in like 7 colors.
Yeah, I just like the looks of it. I just thought it was cool.
I would have bought some just because I would have wanted to try them. And so for those of you that don't follow him, so his company is Tactical Fishing Company. Follow him on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. But he's got a good following on all those. But he's also a really down to earth guy. His name is Andrew Blair. So check him out on Andrew Blair Fishing here on YouTube. He's got like 6,000 subs on YouTube. He has a pretty big following on Facebook and Instagram under Andrew Blair as well, or Andrew Blair Fishing. But super down to earth guy. If you've got a question about his frogs, oh yeah, he does have the Drake also.
I don't know if
they say so. I've actually seen multiple people talk about that, and they say for duck style lures, duck style like floating lures, that the Drake is one of the best duck style lures that's made.
Awesome. I think you'll love it. I really loved it. Teresa, have you fished with frogs before? Oh, yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, like I'm saying though, he is super down to earth. I literally messaged him earlier and said, hey, when I ordered those frogs, I wanted to get some extra stickers. And he was like, dude, I've already sent them. So like he sent them the day I ordered them. I got a shipping notification the same night. So like he got them sent out immediately. We're going to get them this week. So hopefully we'll have them before our tournament.
Good. I'm glad I'm not the only one. And you know, like sometimes I think it was because I hadn't gotten like hardly any fish this year, you know, at all. So that like, you know, that extra like you actually got a bite.
Yeah.
Surprise. Sometimes you just have to get back in the rhythm of things,
Yeah, Travis, get on his website, and he's also a veteran, so that's cool. I'm all for supporting veterans as well. But get on his website, tacticalfishingco.com,
Now,
and it's called the Drake.
Is he the sole owner of that? Because I feel like there's a couple guys that are with him.
No, he's the sole owner of it.
Okay.
He also partners a lot with battle baits. He does some colors for battle baits. Again, veteran-owned company.
And we are not getting paid or
and
anything
they have,
free for this.
Yeah,
promotion.
they have bladed jigs. So he makes some trailers for bladed jigs that he does a lot of soft plastics. Now, you guys know for soft plastics, I'm going to Jeremy through Dad Fish Tackle. Love my Dad Fish Tackle. Use code CHASE10 there. I do have affiliate with them. Use code CHASE10 there and get 10% off. But yeah, Travis, I'm all for supporting vets also. And Andrew Blair is a great guy. Again, he's going to message you back if you send him a message. I actually was talking to him about growing my social media presence, and he said, hey, when I get the kids tucked in for bed, I'll talk to you some more, which, I understand more than a lot of people will. So I'm like, dude, take care of your kids so you can get back to me later. It's not something that I'm going to do today anyway. So get back to me as you get time. But yeah, give him some support. He's a great guy. Every piece of content that I've put out there and I've tagged Tactical Fishing Company in, he shares on his page and he shares on Tactical Fishing Company's page and he's all for supporting others, which again is something that I'm big on. I say it all the time, rising tide raises all boats. So help others out if you can. And I feel like that's the best thing we can do. If I want to grow, then helping others grow is going to help me in the long run.
Yeah. So anyone who's on here, if you'll comment below, let us know what your biggest fish on a frog has been, because I just want to know. I hear they catch some amazing ones.
I see PA Dan said, what colors would you recommend? So actually, again, I'm going to refer to Andrew Blair. Check out his channel on YouTube. He actually just did a video on frog fishing, and he kind of talked about the colors and stuff. He likes to go with bright colors because they are easy to see on the water.
This color. I like it.
Yeah, so I can't even remember what the name of that one is. It's like tropical something. I think it's like tropical something. And then his pink frogs are called pank.
Pank.
So I've got some pank frogs, and then yeah, I really like the green, which is leopard. He also has a brown one that I really like the looks of, but again, I don't know how visible that would be.
I like the black and gold
he
one
he has a brown one, and it is called Skid. And then he has black and white frogs, which we have black and white ones. I'll show you.
It's only 35.
I've got more.
That's a good fish. That's a solid fish.
I got more right here. So, here's one of his black ones. This again is the B2 frog. So super soft frog. This is another one in the design that Kayla has. This is the pad slasher frog. Again, super soft frog. And this is the white color. It's got some little patches on its back. Again, the back of the frog isn't what is going to be seen by a fish anyway, but it's going to be seen by you. So having it more visible to you, if possible, is a good thing.
That helps, man. And that algae, it was hard to see it. That's why half the time when they miss, the frog is flying to my face because I can't see it.
Yes. When you give it that hard hook set,
well, and I
miss it,
because if you can't tell if they actually have it or not,
stick in the grass. Yeah. Part of the time you're not going to see it.
Yeah.
Part of the time the fish will come up. Again, check out Andrew's video. Check out Travis's podcast. He talks a lot about it too, but check out Andrew's video. He gives some really good tips. Something that actually saved me a couple times, but I need to use it more often. So sometimes when a fish comes up and tries to slurp the frog, it'll actually not hit the frog. It'll hit right next to it, and the frog will still kind of get pulled underwater from that suction or whatever you want to call it. And so then when you give it that hard hook set, there's literally no resistance. The frog or the fish has already cleared the grass out of the way, and the the slime out of the way, and that frog just comes flying back at you. And
It's insane.
She's got a couple of them on video where it just went flying right past her face, you know. So
I'm glad it's not a treble hook.
what he actually suggests is when they take it under and you're not 100% positive the fish still has it, you go ahead and reel. Well, actually, he actually said you open your spool, give it a little bit of line, and see if you can feel it actually moving in the line, and then you reel back down to it, and then give it the hook set. If you can feel that line, you know, moving at all. So yeah, check out his video on frog fishing. It's got a lot of great tips on there. I wish that I would have seen his video before I picked up a frog and started fishing it. I seen his video after I started fishing his frogs, and which I fished frogs last year. I had a bunch of blow ups and never landed a single one. I've caught a lot of frogs. I went 6 for 6 this year on his frogs before I missed a single fish, and then I missed a bunch of fish. Then I landed a bunch of fish. Then I missed a bunch of fish, and then I landed a bunch of fish. So it's been kind of back and forth. But I went 6 for 6 before I missed my first fish. After last year going 0 for, I couldn't even tell you how many.
Yeah,
my big fish on a frog is 17 and a quarter too. So
mine would be 17.
Yep.
But last year, this is one of our goals that we absolutely wanted to work on this year. Both of us was frog fishing. So, well, we can't like check it off and say we're done. We have definitely got a good start on that goal for this year. Because I remember last year we were fishing and it was literally like November, I think. And which is crazy. Once again, not normal, but the weather this last year has not been normal. So you just kind of have to adapt. But is in November and they were just in the grass and I didn't know anything about soft plastics yet. Like not really. I hadn't tried any soft plastics. You can't run a crankbait through really thick hydrilla. You can't do it. It's just not possible. I mean, you can, but it's going to be miserable. You know, anything that I knew that I could drag through there just would not work. And so I was watching him get frog blow-ups and I was sitting there being a little pouty and bitter about it because I was like, I don't know how to do that. Not that he was landing them, but he was at least getting the blow-ups. And I was like, I definitely got to learn that. So now that I have, I'm excited. And like I said, the way that you just... I love that.
Well, I had even said in this last video, and I think I got it in the video, but I had just told her, I was like, I'm a little salty because at the point, when I said this, I hadn't got a single frog blow up. I'd got a couple like little bloops, but nothing actually took the frog under. Nothing actually hit the frog. You know, it was just sometimes you see that grass move, and sometimes you'll even see the mat kind of pop your frog in the air. But no fish busted through the mat after my frog. And she had already had a bunch of pretty good blow-ups.
I did.
I was like, I'm salty that they're actually hitting your frog and blowing up on it.
It's because I'm a better than you are.
And so, like, she ended up, like, right as I say that, gets another blow-up and has one take it down. And it was one of them that she should have landed. But that was before she had adjusted her drag.
Yeah, that was did my drag.
So... Another thing I want to say on this frog, the B2, I think it walks really, really well. I've caught a lot of fish in thick grass now.
What's the difference between the ones we have?
I mean, that one's kind of humped up a little bit more. It's got a little bit more of a rounded belly versus this one's a little bit of a flatter belly. It's got a pointier, like the nose comes to a bigger point. Of course, I've still got some nasty.
I was saying we brought our rods inside our house to clean them out.
But
before we go back out.
This one walks really good. I've probably caught as many, if not more, fish in the open water on the grass, on the edges of the grass with this frog than what I have in the thick of it. Because whenever I get it out in the grass, I'm just giving it that good twitch. And if you give it a little twitch, it's walking, and sometimes it's turning, 180 degrees in that walk, and it's really nice. So I will say I really like the walk action of this one. I threw the pad slasher for a while too.
It doesn't walk like that in the water on open
water. No. I like the frog, and I think if we took it to the pads, it would be really good. It works good on the heavy grass too. But he calls this his grass frog. That one's made more for pads. This one's for grass. Obviously, a poppin' frog is more for the open water. We're going to have some poppin' frogs soon, and we will definitely be trying them out potentially this weekend. But this frog,
Not in a
again,
tournament.
really, really walks really well. I was very, very happy with how it walked. You'll see I caught a 16, my second 16.5 of the day. So in Travis's tournament, I made 2 upgrades this weekend, and both of them were upgrades from 16-inch fish to 16.5-inch fish. And my second 16.5 of the day was actually, it was another one of those real long casts. I'd seen a fish kind of blowing up on top of the water just outside of the grass mat. There was a spot where the grass kind of wrapped around and had like a little bowl that was open water and then grass all the way around it. And I could see fish jumping on the edge of that, and I could tell it was smashing bait. I could tell it was a bass, or appeared to be a bass. So I cast over there, and again, probably just a few pops in, I got a bite on it, and it was that 16.5, and it was because this one walked well. And I give it some pretty aggressive pops when I'm in the open water, because it's just it gives it a really good walking action. It gives it a little bit of surface disturbance, not as much as what a popping frog will do, but it gives it a little bit of surface disturbance. And I'll give it 5 or 6 like real quick twitches, and it just that back and forth, and then I stop it, and then I give it, I'll reel back to it, and then I'll give it 5 or 6 twitches and make it go as fast as I possibly can. And when I'm doing that, then it's working out for me better. So, yeah, that's what I'm going with. I see. So Teresa made an order, and so did Mid Tennessee.
That we're not getting
so
paid
appreciate
for
it. Yeah, I mean, hey, look, you guys. I would love it if you guys let them know, hey, I bought these frogs because Southwest Indiana Outdoors recommended them. I would love to have a partnership with Andrew. Again, he seems like a really great guy, down to earth. He's all about helping out others, so that's big to me. And again, he's a veteran, so cool company. Anything else frog fishing related?
Not really. I think we've pretty much gone over that.
So do we have anything else we want to hit?
We will not be doing this in our bedroom for too much longer. We're about to start on his side of the shed, and I'm super excited about that because
it'll be
in our
warm
bedroom
out
right
there,
now.
but
we have
it's gonna be nice.
The table set up in here constantly and all that stuff. So
yeah,
ready to get out of our bedroom.
She's pushing me to get my whole shed finished. I'm gonna focus on the first wall and get my backdrop done. Don't you even start on me.
No, you need to.
I'm gonna focus on my first wall.
We're gonna
get the backdrop done. And once the backdrop's done, then I can decide if I've got time to do the rest of it. Because the last thing I want to do is commit myself to doing this whole shed.
We'll talk about this later.
The last thing I want to do is commit to doing my whole shed and then miss out on fishing. I'm not missing out on fishing to do the shed.
It will literally take one day to do that.
It's not true, guys. Nothing takes one day. Nothing takes one day. So
we'll talk about it later.
Anything else? Anything else on this?
No.
All right. So, anybody have any questions? If not, I'm going to go ahead and do a grand reveal of something awesome I was given for the giveaway. Like, I am super, super excited about this.
Hunter, you were there. You did my shed in one day. Like
your shed was not done in one day.
My walls were pretty much done in one day, and your side is smaller, so it can be done in one day. And that way it's already emptied out, and then we can put everything back in its rightful spot.
So in our last podcast episode, I spoke of the different items that I was going to be giving away. I reached out to Chris from 12 Oaks Custom. I told you guys that I had a BFS lure, which I've got one in here. I had a BFS lure. So my favorite BFS lure. And I was like, hey, I'm going to have him make one of these and have it for the giveaway. And I'll have him make another crankbait, because I know not all you guys are going to throw BFS or even ultralight gear. You can throw that crankbait on a spinning rod that's light action. So Travis, Andrew's site is tacticalfishingco.com. So check it out. But yeah, so I was like, I'll have him make a regular size crankbait as well. So I reached out to yeah, it took a fortnight. I reached out to Chris from 12 Oaks Custom, and I was like, hey, I want you to paint up. I said, tell me what your most popular crankbait is, and I want you to paint one up in my color. And he was like, oh no, I can't just do one crankbait for your 2,000 subscriber giveaway. He's like, I'll paint you up a few. He's like, it's going to take me a few days. Never messages me back. And a few days later, I get a package in the mail. So he painted up this crankbait. This is like a KVD 1.5 size. It's like a Strike King 1.5 size. Oh, then he painted up this one. This is like a 2 size or 2.5. I don't remember what sizes they have. Oh, and then he painted up this one. It's another crankbait. It's got like the circuit board kind of bill. Oh, he also painted up this one. This is a wake bait, and again, my color. He painted up this one as well. So this is like a small BFS wake bait.
It's tiny. It's
my color. It's about the same size as that Griffin. And then, not my color, but it's like a walk the dog style lure. Like, how awesome is that? I reached out to him to have him paint some lures for me to buy, and he was like, no, he's like, we got to give some good lures away for your giveaway. He's like, I'll send you some stuff. And instead of, hitting me back up when he had them done, he just sent them to me. I got these within a week of when I reached out to him and said, hey, I would like you to make a custom lure for me. So awesome. I'm so thankful for Chris over at 12 Oaks Custom Lures. Please, guys, jump over and give him some love. Order some of his stuff. He makes some awesome lures. And if you want a custom color, reach out to him and say, hey, I'm interested in whatever color it is. Tell him essentially the parameters of what you're looking for, and he will get back with you right away and say, here's what I have. So I see my dad just joined. He said he's late. Dad, we are actually about to finish. So you came in right at the end. Anybody have anything else for us? Any questions, feedback?
Everyone drop a comment that says he should finish the whole shed at one time instead of dragging everything out twice. Just say it. Say it. Help me out down in the comments, y'all.
I'm sure that'll do us some good.
Oh, absolutely will. They will totally side with me. They better.
Whether they do or not doesn't mean it's happening. Thank you guys very much for watching. This will be uploaded into podcast format. For you guys that listen to podcasts, I know you guys just watched me. You just watched this whole show, but still would he's bought so much from 12 Oaks Custom. That was Mid-Tennessee Angling. Yeah, so those of you that watch me, drop over and give me a follow on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts.
Travis,
and
how dare you?
Give it a listen. Go fishing. Give it a listen. So that's right. I have a
thank you, Tom.
To fish.
I don't care if you're scared or not. At least you help me out.
So jump over, give me a sub over there. Push me out a little bit more in the podcast platform. I had my first podcast hit 10 listens, 10 downloads now. So like it's cool seeing them start to grow a little bit. This is actually episode 6 that I've uploaded to podcast form. I know we've done several more than 6.
Have we?
Yeah, we've probably done 10 plus, but 6 of them that we've came into it with a planned out kind of topic that I felt was good to start with the podcast. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Jump over, follow me there.
Watch the video.
Give it a listen
that we put out today because it's a good one.
If you have not watched the video we put out today, get on and watch it. Know that more footage from that one is going to be coming in multiple different formats because there is so much that we did not even put out in this video. So thank you guys very much and have a great evening.